Hi everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and I love custom inserts. This is not the first time I've said that, and probably won't be the last time. Because if there's one part of our hobby that I don't particularly enjoy, it's not punching out a new game, or learning the rules, or booking my housing for Gen Con, although I don't really like that either. No, if there's one thing I really don't like, it's setting up and putting away games. And now listen, I know a custom insert is totally a luxury item. You could even call it frivolous. But if it's a game that I play frequently and has quite an involved setup, and if the insert can even go beyond just containing the items, but also helping to facilitate the gameplay, well, I really enjoy having them. So I've shared some of these before. I've shared them by Robert Searing, who runs Insert here, and he particularly appreciated our video and asked me if I would feature some more of his inserts. But beyond that, he asked me if there was a game I personally would like to see an insert for that he could design for me and then offer in his line. And I told him that Aquasphere is one that has a variety of different kinds of bits and pieces. And in particular, I'd like to see an insert that I could use during the gameplay. And so I told him sort of what I was looking for, and then he designed it to those specifications, and I have to say, I really think it's fantastic. So I'm going to show you that first, plus a couple other ones that he's designed, and you can see what you think. Although you can't see the insert yet, the first thing I wanted to point out is that the box cover lid sits all the way down. Sometimes with custom inserts, you'll find, especially once you put the manuals in, the box lid kind of floats a little bit, and I don't particularly like that as much as when the cover sits all the way down. And Robert's first design did cause the lid to float a little bit, and I said, is there any way we can just redesign it to get the box cover all the way down? And sure enough, he went back to the drawing board and made it so it could. So thanks a lot for that, Robert. All right, let's get into the good stuff, shall we? I'll remove the box cover, and on top here we have the pieces for the headquarters and the personal player boards. And then I have the rules here. I like to set these at the next layer. That way it sort of sits on top and holds all these pieces in place, because the box is a very nice tight fit. So if you were to shake the box, the rules should keep these pieces from really flying around. I'm going to remove some of these sections. You'll notice they actually come out, which is great. We have the different player pieces separated by foam core so they don't get mixed up, which is nice. We have another pod that comes out here. This shows the time markers, the crystals, and then the programming tiles, which are here. We also have this area, which holds the base labs and the center hex tiles. And when you remove this section, then you find underneath the areas for setting up Aquasphere and the research station itself. And then these are separate pods as well. So we have one here for the lab expansions, one here for the octopods, and then these are for the cards themselves, right? So we have the different abilities that you can add on and the setup cards as well. So I asked him specifically to set these up separately, and I think you'll see why. Because now when I want to play, I just take these sections of the insert out and plop them on the table. Everything's sorted and ready to go. I can pass these around if people need to reach them. He's cut out sections here so it's easy to reach in and pull out the pieces that you need. You'll notice there's lots of room here for the cards, and that's because if you sleeve, it'll fit the sleeve cards and have enough room here for you to have 2 draw piles. I certainly can't take much credit here, as Robert did all of the heavy lifting in putting this together, but I do appreciate that he took into consideration some of my thoughts and incorporated them in a way that I think really worked out well. So thank you for that, Robert. And you can see how easy it would be to have your friends actually help you with putting away this insert, unlike when you have a bunch of baggies and you have to be really specific. No, those ones don't go in that baggie. Oh, no, that's the wrong size here. It's pretty straightforward how everything goes back together and is easily put away. One of the nice things about Robert's inserts is that he will try to incorporate all of the elements from the expansions into a single insert that will then fit into the base box. In the case of Lords of Waterdeep, the insert will actually fit in both the base box or, if you prefer, into the expansion box. Lords of Waterdeep had a couple of different styles of box. This one has a half lid, whereas this one has a full lid. So some people prefer this box over the original. Myself, I like, if I can, to keep the original box. So that's what I put the insert in. I just want to show that to you quickly now. Now, one of the advantages, or I suppose disadvantages, depending on how you look at it, of using the original box is that there's extra room on top here. So if there were expansions, I'd probably have room to fit them in. But I suppose the disadvantage is that it's not as snug of a fit. In the expansion box, the lid fits right down to these elements, And that way, if you were, for some reason, to start shaking up the box, then the pieces down here would be less likely to get shifted around. But you can see they all fit in here nicely and snug, and there's several removable items again, so each of the player pods can be removed. And also these elements here for the different fighters and corruption tokens. You'll notice I have the D&Deeples. These are custom you can order from various individuals, so they replace the cubes, but even these fit all perfectly into this insert as well. These sections here holding the buildings and the cards and some of these tokens like the victory points and the money, they don't come out separately, but there's sections cut into the sides so you can easily pull them out and put them on the board. So again, another quality insert here. That was kind of clever actually, because insert here is the name of Robert's company. All right, moving on. And here we have Imperial Assault. The game I said I wouldn't get because it shared some similarities with Descent, but actually there are some distinct differences I came to find out, and the game does include a Luke Skywalker figure, and although Luke is not named after Luke Skywalker, I certainly had an affinity for the name because of that. And so I figured, okay, if I'm going to get this game, one of the nuisances of Descent was setting it up and putting it away in between the different games and scenarios of a campaign. So I said, this time I'm going to get a custom insert. So let me remove again the manuals, which you can see there's room here, so you can fit everything in and still get the box lid on all the way down. Let's go a little closer and I'll show you this insert. This insert's pretty big. I can't zoom in too much more than this, but you'll notice there's actually some extra space already for potential expansions. This is only the base game that I have in here, although some expansion figures and cards have been announced. There's obviously plenty of room here to grow. The centerpiece can be removed, so you have a nice tray to put it on the table for some of these wound and fatigue and other effect tokens. And underneath here we have another tray actually that holds the dice and some of the other relevant tokens that you might want to have nearby on the table. So I could see myself just laying these out beside the gameplay area. This section here doesn't remove, well, it removes, but you might not choose to put this out as a gameplay element. But of course, all of the decks are easily pulled out of here. There's slots cut here so you can fit in and easily grab the pieces. And we have the hero figures in this area. Let's remove this section and get a closer look at what's underneath. So here's the bottom layer of the insert. Well, almost the bottom layer, as you'll see. In this area, we have a number of the larger tiles, including the spin tracker here. This section comes out. It has some of the smaller click-together items. I have the character bases here, some more of the other pieces for the terrain. I have a couple of the separate manuals that came for Luke Skywalker and for Darth Vader. Here we have the miniatures. Now, you'll notice I haven't put together the bigger piece. This is still in its different elements. But when it's all completely assembled, it will fit in this area very nicely. And then this comes out, it holds some of the figures. And then this one comes out as well, and it holds the rest of the figures. And again, there's some additional space here for extra figures as those get released. One of the particular advantages to Robert's inserts compared to the other excellent options out there is that his inserts all come pre-assembled. So as soon as you get them, you're ready to put them in the box and start using them. And just to answer anyone who might be curious, yes, there is a chance at some point in the future that we will feature Imperial Assault. I just haven't decided for sure if we will and exactly when. And hey, you know what? Inserts don't just have to be for the big boxes of games full of goodies. This is Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small by Z-Man Games. It's a two-player version of Agricola that's highly simplified, but it has a couple of expansions and all of them fit here inside of this box. So we've got an area here for some of the farm expansions and the base farm elements themselves and the scoreboard. And this is actually an insert where I probably would just keep everything in it and put it beside the game area. These are actually separate. So the expansions primarily come with new tiles, and there's a separate section for each of them. Here's what comes in the base game, and here are the two expansions. If you want to keep them separate, there's spaces to do that. And then, of course, in the box here, I have the big board here and the manuals as well for the expansions and the base game. I really feel like Robert has perfected his design and creation process for these foam core inserts, including how he packages and sends them out. When I saw how they were arranged in the box, I felt very confident that they couldn't have been damaged during the shipping. So if you'd like to see these inserts or any of the other ones in his line, I'll put a link in the description of this video to his website. Thanks again, Robert, for sending along these samples and for creating this custom insert for Aquasphere. I really, really like it, and maybe I'll have some other suggestions for you in the future. We should talk about that. For the rest of you, I hope you found this informative and interesting, but until the next episode, thanks for watching.